I show at 10 o'clock, so I'd like to call this meeting of the Benton-Franklin Council of Governments of December 19th to order. And we'll start with the convening statement. Thank you. Michelle, would you do a roll, please?
I will do that. Benton-Franklin Transit.
Here.
Benton County, Mike Alvarez is excused. Benton City.
Here.
City of Connell. City of Kennewick.
Here.
City of Pasco. And I see Charles Griffin has joined us. Maricela.
Here.
Maricela. How would we do that again? City of Prosser. Here. Yeah. City of Richland. Here. City of West Richland. Franklin County.
Here. When did here?
Port of Benton.
Roy Cap.
Port of Kennewick.
Here.
Port of Pasco.
Vicky Gordon here.
And Washoe South Central.
Here. We do have a quorum.
You do have quorum.
Great, thank you. Introduction of guests. We have any guests we need to introduce?
Would you like to introduce our guest?
Yes, one of our guests is the outgoing technical advisory chair, Roscoe Slade, from the city of West Richland. He will be honored in a little bit.
Do we need to give them a round of applause or anything?
Yeah, we can do a slogan.
Anybody else there? Do we have any other guests? All right, we'll move on then to the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Our next agenda item is approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So move.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
We moved and seconded to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries. Agenda is approved. Our next agenda item is public comment. It's an opportunity for anyone from the public to address this board on anything on the agenda or anything you'd like to make us aware of. We just ask that you state your name, state your residence for the record, and limit comments to 3 minutes. Would anyone like to make a public comment at this time? All right, hearing none. Is there anybody online? No. All right, hearing none, then we'll move on to presentation. And Michelle, future 2075 recap.
Last week we had just the briefest of recap on our 2075 event, but as promised, we wanted to go into a little more detail for you today. For those of you who are in the room, you can see the graphic recording drawings that happens during the event. We'll talk about those a little bit more here, but we convened the 2075 event not to be an official planning exercise, but to really be an exercise of leadership. As our region grows, our challenges become more complicated and require us to be able to work as partners across boundaries. This event was meant to be that practicing of regional thinking in real time. Our goals for the event were to catalyze regional thinking beyond our jurisdictional boundaries, to build trust and relationships across the local governments, and to strengthen collaboration so that the region could more effectively speak as one voice. When we designed the agenda, we went through every activity very carefully to ensure that it was going to serve those goals from the time even before people came and joined the event until well after. I think the most important thing was, at least for me, was regardless of the fact that we weren't producing a plan, I wanted people to leave the event to feel like their time was well spent, their relationships were better, and that we really planted the seeds for better cooperation overall. So what the day delivered was, of course, diverse perspectives and participation. We had 55 people for the day of the workshop itself. Elected officials, staff leaders, we had 10 regional youth ambassadors, which by far was one of the most popular parts of the event, was being able to have the youth there to engage with us. Participants shared in their futuring activities, scenario thinking, trust building discussions. And we really practiced this idea of being a regionalist, of thinking beyond our individual jurisdictions and thinking about what was good for the region. I think my favorite part of the day, in addition to our youth ambassadors, was the regionalist declaration, where we had everyone sign on to our shared notion that we would choose to have a shared vision, make collaboration a standard, think in decades, build trust as a strategy, and elevate diverse voices, and really think about the work that we do in our region is not just about what we do today, but the work that we're planting for the future. So success is, how the event met its goals. And for us, I feel like we achieved that level of regional thinking that we were looking for. Conversations consistently crossed boundaries between jurisdictions. We ensured that everybody moved tables 3-4 times during the day to make sure that everybody got to meet and discuss with new people. The trust building, we had our ground rules, facilitated dialogue, lots of personal sharing and activities that really created a space to build trust. I felt like just being in the room and seeing how people interact with each other. I think one of the best decisions that we made was to choose to have a professional photographer actually capture the day, because it was really great to see all of those moments of connection that he was able to capture for people. And then that collaboration that participants committed personally to actions that would support the region. We have everybody's postcards that they wrote to send a message to themselves in the future, saying what were they going to do in the next 12 months to help us be a more collaborative region. So we'll send those out. We're just waiting on our plaque We have an engraved plaque to go on our time capsule. We'll video sealing that up and then keep it for the COG's 110th anniversary, as 2026 will be our 60th anniversary here at the COG. Thank you. Got a great group photo of everybody that was there for the day. I mean, I couldn't be more pleased with the turnout that we had. And I know in last month's board report, we shared the multiple comments that we received from participants about how they felt about the event and what it meant to them. As I mentioned, the other really exciting element was the use of graphic recording. I was surprised at how many people had not had a chance to see that in some of the Port of Benton's meetings. They have used David Michael Moore for multiple events, and it's such an incredible experience to watch. You know, he started the day with just the title headers that here in the room you can see were actually glued onto the bigger white pieces of butcher paper, but that's it. The rest of this was all done in real time during the day, and it's just incredible. And thinking about the note-taking and capturing of the concepts from somebody who wasn't intimately involved in the work that we're doing. We've had these up on the board or up on the wall here for a month. And even sitting here as a staff, every time we sit and look at them, there are things that pop out that maybe we hadn't noticed before, great visual reminders. But we were able to have the photographs for each of those graphic recordings as well. So overall, I would say that from the staff's perspective, Future 2075 was everything that we envisioned it would be, and more, being able to be there in the day. And I hope that as members of the board, you feel that way as well, that it was worth the time and effort and the financial dollars that we put into putting on this event. It's been fun to hear threads of language and sentiments that we shared at the event be shared by elected officials and others as they speak out in the community over the last month or so. That makes me feel like there's been truly some seeds planted. I think in terms of just the reputation of the COG and the work that we're doing, I think that was also a really nice way for us to show up in a light that maybe we haven't in the past. So this was our final slide of the day, and I think it's a great sentiment for us to end on. Is just, you know, being a regionalist is about more than geography. It's a mindset of shared destiny, and I think all of our jurisdictions and our agency partners all understand that fundamentally. But it's really great to have a reminder of that value and importance. So I just once again want to thank you as board members for getting behind what could have been viewed as a little bit of an out there idea, especially for our planning agency. But it was truly something to experience. So thank you all for supporting that.
It was a great event. Comments from board members? Anybody?
It was great to take back the pearls from the event to, I don't know how many times I've used the, are we thinking like Blockbuster? Or are we thinking like Netflix? So,
A great event. I think it's probably the best event the COG's ever put on, at least as far as I've been involved in. So congratulations for doing what you did. Any other comments from board members?
I do.
Go ahead, Gretel. She frozen.
Between different jurisdictions and people within those jurisdictions and the youth is something that we don't really do very often, and just breaking it down to a little bit more comfortable feel where people feel free to really express their opinions and looking out for the whole region. I think it was a great event.
Great, thank you. Anybody else? All right, we'll move on then to consent agenda. These are items considered of a routine nature taken by one vote of the board. Any item can be removed, placed further on down the agenda for discussion if need be. Do we need to remove anything from the consent agenda? If not, we have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Roddy. Been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. The consent agenda is approved. Thank you. We'll move on then to MPO, RTPO action items. Aaron?
Yes, thank you very much. All right, last month, we had a just really good discussion here at the board about the regional transportation plan goals. And ultimately, you were asked 3 prompting questions. We had a great discussion about what investments you'd like to see in the region, what are your passions about the region, and from that, we took those broad terms and we took them to 12 different goals. We reported back to the technical advisory committee earlier this month on the high level themes that were taken out from our conversation. All of those high level themes are included within your board report. And we distilled down the 12 goals to now 9 goals. The 9 goals are, and this handout is included in your board packet as well. But the 9 goals were safety, number 2, integration and connectivity, 3, mobility and accessibility, and I will reread them as I go to the next slides as well. 4, economic vitality, 5, preservation and maintenance, 6, cooperation and leadership, 7, quality of life, 8, environment, and 9, stewardship. So why do these numbers matter on the left-hand side of each goal is based upon how much traction the conversation had and how many times people brought it up. And I would say with a little bit of ground truthing with current events going on and with city council strategic goals and county goals, making sure all of our RTP goals align with what all of you want to accomplish. So from that, safety was talked about the most over the past, last month at the board meeting, and then also with some ongoing activities, especially over the past month in Franklin County. Safety is on the mind of a lot of people, and it makes very much sense for that to be our number 1 goal. So that was the process of how things were done and how they were prioritized. So with that, the number 1 goal is safety. Number 2 is integration and connectivity. 3, mobility and accessibility. 4 is economic vitality. This goal got the combination of tourism, travel and tourism last month, so it has an additional bullet point if you were following along. Number 5 is preservation and maintenance. Number 6 is cooperation and leadership. Number 7 is quality of life, and this one absorbed the health goal. Number 8 is environment, and number 9 is stewardship. So with that, why do these goals matter? So from this will be hopefully the adopted goals of the regional transportation plan. And then at the technical advisory committee level, we'll be discussing the metrics that go along with each of these goals. So within the plan, there'll be a lot of different projects that are being assessed that are going to be improving the transportation over the next 25 years. But with now this prioritized way for us to look at our goals, we'll know that safety projects matter more to our region than say a stewardship project. So that is how this would be factored in. Those specific metrics, they won't be decided here at the board level. We rely on the technical expertise of the TAC. So that this provides the big buckets for everybody to have this conversation. So with that, I have the motion in front of you and I'm open to answer any questions.
Any questions of Aaron? All right, seeing none, we have a motion to approve the regional transportation plan 2050 goals as presented.
I move to approve the regional transportation plan 2050 goals as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by.
I think we're.
Gretel?
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll make my comment afterwards.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion passes. Thank you. Gretel?
I just was going to say if this is going up somewhere along that number 8 environment spelled wrong. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
You hire Rob as a proofreader, by the way?
I know.
I was a spelling bee champion, so I look at those things. Okay.
Thank you. Aaron, anything else on that? All right, we'll move on then to Michelle. Resolution 0925.
Okay. So for Economic Development District, actions today, the first one is, Resolution 925, authorizing the EDA CARES RLF, changes, which you are not having deja vu. You voted on this 2 months ago in October. However, the EDA has requested an official resolution to submit to them. So the resolution just restates everything that you already decided in October. One new piece of information is that the EDA has indicated it will probably take 4 to 6 months between the EDA and Tri-County Economic Development to work out all the stuff they have to do behind the scenes to allow Tri-County to take on the CARES revolving loan fund for us. So other than the resolution, that's all we have to do until we just wait for them to work out their things. But it's not going to happen quite as quickly as we would like. However, the ball will be rolling.
Any questions of Michelle? All right, we see a proposed motion on resolution 0925. Do we have someone make that motion, please?
I move to approve the resolution as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved to second to approve resolution 0925. Any board discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Resolution 0925 is approved. Thank you.
All right, the next item is that in having this conversation with Tri-County Economic Development, or TED, the fact that their acronym is an actual name is sometimes confusing. But the folks at TED know that it is ultimately our intention to get out of the revolving loan business, and they offered the potential to buy out our 3 remaining legacy revolving loans, which, unlike the transfer of the CARES fund, would simply be a purchase of the remaining balance of those 3 loans and a transfer into their loan fund. However, before they can officially offer that to us, there's some due diligence and things that would need to be considered. So this motion would be to authorize me on our behalf to enter into discussions with Tri-County Economic Development to evaluate a potential buyout of those 3 remaining loans, which may result in a final offer back to our board, but we would be sharing confidential information related to those loans in order to evaluate that. So that is the proposed motion question.
Any questions? All right, can we have some? Go ahead, Katie.
Do we have any idea of how long we expect the conversation to last approximately? Like, are we thinking a couple months, a year?
I'm thinking it would probably be 2 to 3 months at the most, and that would just be given for the new year and the holidays. I do have a little bit more information for you just in background. Not that it affects the discussion too much, but of course, we are committed to getting out of the revolving loan fund game. Transferring the EDA CARES fund, of course, achieves half of that goal for us. We do have 3 loans remaining in our legacy, our RLF. Those are non-federal now. We are not obligated to report to anybody else on those at this point. The approximate value of those 3 loans receivable is $260,000. The length of term on those 3 loans would mean that the longest of those would require us to maintain those to 2034, which of course includes costs, staff time, and potential legal and financial risk. So the fact that we may be able to have someone else buy those out sooner is something to consider. A buyout would help us achieve our goal 8 years sooner than we would, be able to. And transitioning the legacy funds into our PWEDA fund. Our PWEDA fund is where all of the defederalized capital base from the other loan program, all the money went in there. That's actually an interest earning account for us. So Alexis did the financial analysis, and having a buyout and rolling those funds into PWEDA, we would actually earn more interest having the funds and having it in their earning on our behalf than we would actually earn by collecting the interest through the end of the term of those loans. So financially, it would be in our best interest to consider this if Ted feels like it's a good idea.
So the question I have is, are we selling that at a discount to them in order to have an incentive for them to buy that paper from us?
At this point, they are going to just look at the loans in their current capacity. We've not discussed that in any way. What we've looked at is their actual value at this point. But we'll have to see what they come back with as a proposal after they've been able to evaluate it. So once we know that, an actual proposal will come back to the board and we can make that decision at that time. At this point, it's just the ability to consider it.
Any other board questions?
More of just a statement, I guess, than anything. Just like with the last one, I think I'm sure that for other board members, but for myself, and I know that you're aware of this, we just want to make sure that the region isn't going to be losing out on anything money-wise because we're being lumped in with other organizations. So since I know you're aware of that, I don't have to discuss it, but I wanted to make sure that was on public record.
Yeah. The difference in this case is that what they gain from purchasing these particular loans is just the interest that they would collect on them to service them. It's a means to the end on our part, but our fund, if you will, would be made substantially whole by, theoretically by that buyout. So those funds would still remain in our control, unlike the CARES that's completely rolling out. But just as a refresher on the CARES transfer, the only change that has happened is that our funds getting rolled into the Tri-County funds actually creates a larger pool that borrowers from Benton-Franklin could have access to. It does mean that borrowers in Ferry, Ponderay, and Stevens also have access to the pool that our funds were, but joined together, there's actually more dollars to have access to.
That answers my question. Okay, we will be picking up the slack for not having the services here in.
Yes, so they will all, our borrowers will still have access to those CARES funds going forward.
Any other board questions or comments? Lacey, can you put the motion back up, please? All right, we do have a motion. Would anyone like to move forward and make the motion?
I move to approve the proposed motion as presented.
Thank you. Didn't want to read it all.
It's harder.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Vicky. It's been moved and seconded. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed say no. And the motion carries. Thank you so much.
I have one more additional adjacent item here that was not listed as an action item on the agenda. But because we are already talking about it, it felt like the right time to talk about it. And that is just a clarification that with this legacy revolving loan fund, although we are not directly beholden to a federal partner anymore, the funds that are sitting there now have been turned over multiple times. They are still considered program income, meaning that the intent and ability to use them is restricted by where the money originated from, not by any current or future activity. Meaning that we can't once we're out of the loan fund game, the money that's in that account today doesn't just become unrestricted for us to use however we would like. It follows the same intent as the WIDA funds from the last fund that we closed out. So what I would like to have on record for the board is the idea that we have a motion that declares the current and future legacy RLF fund as program income, maintaining restricted use for eligible economic development purposes through transfer into our Public Works Economic Development Act fund. And then authorizing me to be able to transfer funds from the legacy fund into the PWIDA fund in order to maximize that interest income. So we just have this on record that we all recognize what the intent and purpose of those dollars are, and also the fact that I would be moving money from one fund to another fund, with the awareness of the board for that. Currently, the legacy RRLF account has $341,000 in it. It's just sitting there in the account. That's not an interest-bearing account, and we definitely, especially since we're not going to be relending, we don't need those funds to just be sitting there in that fund. So part of this authorization, Alexis and I would determine how much we need to keep in that fund to just cover the business of maintaining those loans until we're not responsible for those anymore. Move the rest of the money into PWIDA where it can begin earning interest. And then once we have a final disposal of those loans, whether we keep them until they're done or we buy them out, then any remaining funds would go in there as well. So because this was not on the original agenda, if this is something the board would prefer us to bring back officially in January, we can do that. But since we were already talking about it, I figured I would just put it out here for you guys to see.
So let me just ask, does anybody have any opposition to dealing with this subject and the motion at this time, at this meeting? All right, seeing none. Any other questions of Michelle? Then can we have someone make the motion as presented? Okay, do you want to do that again?
I can absolutely do that. I move to approve the motion as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the motion as presented. Any board discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. And the motion is approved. Thank you. Thank you, Michelle. I think that was good bringing it up at this time, so thank you for that.
Interesting.
All right, we'll move on then to COG action items. Michelle, do you want to keep going?
I would only keep going to introduce this topic over to Lizzie, who is taking over as lead for our brownfield program. So this will be Lizzie's action item.
Amazing. Hello, good morning, everybody. I'm excited to be presenting on brownfields with you guys. So just wanted to do a quick brownfields recap for you guys. So starting in June, we were selected by the EPA to receive that 1.2 million brownfields assessment coalition grant. Luckily, it was not decided by a hat, but we are one of 3 in Washington that were able to receive that. And part of that coalition is we've got members of our jurisdictions involved. So we have Richland, Connell, Prosser, and Habitat for Humanity in that. And then in September, we received our assistance agreement, or that, what's the other phrase that we call it? I don't remember. But we received our assistance agreement, that stamp of approval, and that was issued. That allowed us to, again, start to do those funds, as well as competitively procure a qualified environmental professional. So in October, we released our RFP, following that 30 days, and we did receive some proposals, and then that closed on November 12th. And then we reviewed those proposals. If you put a little check mark there, I guess the clipboard with the check mark. So we reviewed those. We did score them, the staff and the coalition members. Looked at those, the cost proposals were generally pretty on par. There wasn't any that were too large or too small. We did end up having a tie with, two consulting agencies, and ultimately our final selection was based on our experience with them. We knew that they could deliver, they were already established in our community, so we did, select Stantec as our final consultant for this. And then with the little yellow, you are here. So this is where we're at, is we just need the thumbs up, the board approval on executing a contract. We did already communicate with Stantec, got something drafted up, and now it's just a matter of looking at executing that. And then once that does go through, we will start the kickoff. That's when the party begins, and we let our EPA know this is our consultant. We went through the contract, and then we start our grant program. So in front of you is a proposed motion to approve executing the consulting services for Stantec.
So first of all, any questions of Lizzie?
Point of clarification, we did have our legal counsel review and provide input on the final contract that you all have in your packet.
And we've used Stantec in the past.
Stantec is the company that did our last program for us.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, then can we have someone make this motion?
I move to approve the motion as presented.
You're pretty good at that, you know that?
I'm saving like 30 minutes on our meetings now.
There's a second.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve the motion as presented. Any more discussion?
Good job to the team.
Yeah. Yeah, good job, Lizzie. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. The motion is approved. Thank you. All right, we'll move on to Michelle, I'm gonna keep going, executive committee ratification.
Yes, so we have completed our executive committee appointment process. Each of our member subgroups selected who they would like to have represent them on the 2026 executive committee. So those are Michael Alvarez for Benton County, Charles Grimm for large cities, Maricela Sanchez for small cities, Vicki Gordon for our port districts, and Thomas Strutz for transit agency. That was a tight race, but you know. So our slate for the executive committee is now ready to be ratified by the board.
So this is where these individual jurisdictions talked amongst themselves and they appointed these people. And that's where the appointment process came from. So what we're looking for now is just ratification by the board for these appointments. So can we have someone move to ratify the 26 COG Executive Committee?
So moved.
Thank you. It's been moved and said. Any more discussion? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. All right, the executive committee is ratified as presented. We'll move on then to officer elections. And per our bylaws, we take nominations from the floor, but the only people that are eligible for the chair and the vice chair are members of the executive committee that you just approved. You ratified their appointments. So floor is open for nominations. First of all, for chair.
I would move to nominate Maricela Sanchez, City of Prosser.
I second that.
For chair.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve Marcella as chair. Are there any other nominations for chair? Are there any other nominations for chair? All right, hearing none, I think because there aren't any other nominations. All those in favor of approving Maricela as chair signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, you're it, Ken. All right, now we'll move on for nominations for vice chair.
I think we could just leave this slide up for a second for
Sure,
nominations.
yeah. For vice chair, do we have any nominations for vice chair? We have to have somebody.
I would like to nominate Vicki Gordon if she would accept for vice chair.
Look at her face here.
As I was chair last year, it's fun to work on the executive board. So,
Serious update.
sure.
Thank you, Vicky. Are there any other nominations for vice chair? Again, are there any other nominations for vice chair? All right, nominations for vice chair closed. All those in favor of Vicky Gordon? Gretel, did you have?
I was going to, but I think Vicky will do a good job. She's got the experience.
Cool. Okay, nominations for vice chair are closed. All those in favor of Vicky Gordon as vice chair signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed say no. Vicky, you're up, kid. Thank you. All right, so we've got our chair and our vice chair. And I think that's all we need to do for officer elections, isn't it?
Yep.
Cool, we're good. All right, we'll move on to. Where's the condolences?
You know, we're so ready to have to do this online polling and we keep telling ourselves, it could be that we don't even have to do it. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
You know, just know.
And you did all that preparation?
Oh, wow.
Just in case.
All right, Michelle, you want to go on?
Yes, I would like to go on because we do have some special thank yous. Of course, first up, just a verbal thank you to our 2025 executive committee. Skip, Maricela, Michael, Gretel, and Tom. You guys are all amazing and willing to step up and do what we need between meetings of the board, which thankfully this year we really did not have to do too much, which was fantastic. I would like to recognize our past officers. We decided we wanted to do this a little differently, so we are recognizing both our 2025 officers, board chair and vice chair, and also our 2024 board chair and vice chair, because we want to be fair and consistent, and we didn't want anybody to feel bad that we changed in the middle of the race. So, yes, please, that would be great. So we have some, oh, gotcha. You know, we'll just have, you're a mom, you're good. So first up, our 2024 board vice chair, Kate Moran, City of West Richland. We have a little something for you. And if you would each, before you leave the meeting, if we can grab you to take a picture before you all leave, Lindsay would appreciate that for our social media. So Kate, thank you very much for that. And our 2024 board chair, Vicky Gordon.
Thank you. Oh, that's nice.
Oh, that's very cool.
So that's cool.
And then our 2025 vice chair, Maricela Sanchez. And our 2020 to 2023 and 2025 board chair, Skip Novakovich. So thank you all very much. Now we also, as we heard at the beginning of our meeting, we have our retiring TAC chair. Thankfully, he's not retiring, just retiring as the TAC chair. Francis Slade from the City of West Richland, who has been our TAC chair since 2023. So he was an over the top do-gooder and remained in his role for more than his obligated 1 year, which we greatly appreciate. Thank you, Governor. And last but not least, and very sad, I always hate the December board meeting because we're always losing people that we've had an opportunity to build relationships with and work with over time. And so when folks roll off of our board, it makes me sad. But we have three retiring board members this December. Lee Barrow from the city of Connell, Gretel Crawford from the city of Kennewick, and Roy Keck from the Port of Benton. And we have a certificate for each of you for your service on our board. So thank you all very much, not only for your service to your communities, but your service to us. I always remind the staff, and we talk a lot about the fact that as elected officials, many of you have full-time jobs, and then you have your elected role. And then on top of your elected role, you are then appointed, perhaps even voluntold, to serve on other boards that require time and effort. And you all really go above and beyond to make yourselves available to us, be knowledgeable about our work, support what we do. And so we know what a huge lift that can be for you. So thank you very, very much for your time and effort on our behalf. So.
Thank you.
Huge shoes to fill to replace those three.
Yes, yes.
Great job.
Yes, so January and February for the COG are generally the Wild West as we wait to find out who our new board appointees are and shifts. And so we don't as yet know who our new board members will be, but as soon as we know, you all know as well. So thank you.
Michelle, thank you for that. Anything anybody would like to add? Comments, questions, concerns?
No, it's been a pleasure working with you all, Michelle, and the team. So,
Well, thank you.
thank you.
Thank you for your service, Roy.
And I want to thank you, Skip, because I think you do a very good job of keeping the meeting timely, following the rules, and it's much appreciated.
Thank you.
I gotta say, it's nice to be able to come in, get it done, and go home and not have to spend several hours in here, so much appreciated.
Thank you. Well, the announcement, Kate doesn't read the whole motion. All right, we'll move on then to Aaron.
Yes, and I'm actually gonna turn it over to Tanner.
Oh, Tanner, you're up.
Sounds good. I'll try to not look at the screen as much as possible. I mean, it's kind of weird looking up and down, but good morning, everyone. So as part of the federal fiscal year 2026 obligation authority, we are required as an MPO to coordinate and ensure that we meet our yearly target, which ends the last day of September each year for the federal fiscal year. Right now, we do not have our target, our finalized target set, but it's anticipated to be around 5.5 million. That said, if you could go to the next, please. All good. So that said, our target or our estimated target is approximately 5.5 million. We have 13 projects programmed to obligate by the end of the federal fiscal year 2026, and that totals 8.1 million. So no projects have obligated yet, but it's early, and we are striving to exceed that target again this year. Any questions?
Any questions?
Yeah.
I was wondering if were any anticipated changes to funds needed related to recent flooding events? Have there been any effects to our roads or bridges?
That is a good question. I'm not sure. I think that's more of a jurisdictional. I'm not sure on the funding or if I've heard any additional funding.
So we're all working with Benton County Emergency Management, and again, Auckland is amazing as far as getting everybody coordinated and pushing out information on. So we're all doing damage assessments, and everything is document, add some photos, document. And so we're doing that now, and she just sent out a bunch of information for damage assessments to the different agencies for not only damages, but overtime dealing with flood, closing roadways. And so, yes, a lot of it's through FEMA. If it's an eligible expense, I think they reimburse about 75% of the actual cost. So, but everybody's going through the 300-page manual guidance to submit for FEMA. And so that's I think that reporting goes to the state by the end of January.
Possible things for that.
Skip, can Brian, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I think right now, if there's any update that you want to provide from WashDOT on the flooding.
So, as you probably know, the west side here we got hit pretty hard. We haven't had too much down here. The Tri-Cities 224 has some water over the roadway. Up around SR 22, we have some water over the roadway. As I'm driving down today, I'm watching the Yakima, which is a very large complex. All its waters top the levees, and it's just kind of up against the roadway. The main closures I have right now is US 12 at Natchez, but there is a detour, so you can get around. It's not the best, but it's passable for us to get around. So we're working on that right now, and then we have a slope washout up on I-90 near North Bend. Luckily it's coming out of North Bend, so there's 4 lanes because there's a truck climbing lane. So we got 2 lanes closed just for precautionary case more roads. But so there's 2 lanes there, and so we're starting to work on that today. Yesterday in the Yakima Valley, we were just predicted to get rain. I got 6 inches of snow at my house, and then by noon it turned to rain. So kind of waiting to see what's gonna happen with that. The Natchez was already going up the day before, so I'm sure it's gonna go up again. Our biggest issue right now that we're having trouble with, that's why I had to step out from that big phone call, is Federal Highways has kind of changed their approach on how they fund emergency projects for DOT. And in the past, it's been pretty straightforward. Then they would cover almost everything. Now they're just wanting to cover the emergency response. So in US 12, they're saying, once you build the embankment, then we're done. So then you need to go get another contractor to actually pave it, put the surfacing down to pave it. Well, I think to all of us staying around looking at it, we want to get it paved right away. So we're trying to work through that issue. They also, always in the past, the resource agencies were very accommodating, easy to work with, saying, go forward, do great things. We'll do the after the fact documentation. That is no longer acceptable. So for rivers where we have ESA species, that can take up to 30 days or 18 months. So you could see an emergency project right now just sitting while we do the environmental documentation. So we're trying to work through it, trying to, bring some common sense back to it, but we'll see what. Wow. Yeah, very frustrating.
What about bridges? Because I know that like with our bridge, there was at least a Facebook post about how we needed to have it inspected prior to being
Right.
used, but I'm sure that other bridges throughout Washington have been affected
Yeah,
structurally.
so far we haven't had too many issues. The biggest one I have right now is up at Cleon where the tanker truck drove through the span. Tuesday, we were able to set all the girders on that, so we're moving forward on that. We hope to have that done by January. Yeah, there's inspections that have to be done, and some of it we had to wait till the water goes down. And yesterday I got a text that one of our bridges on a lower volume route, 821 through the canyon. All of a sudden the hole opened up in that, so our maintenance crews are up fixing that right now, so it's an interesting time right now.
You're a little busier.
Yeah, a little busy.
Sounds like Cleon has all the luck.
Yeah, so we were supposed to get a lot of snow on Snoqualmie Pass the last couple of days. So far it hasn't really materialized, so that's positive. But up at Alphatol, which is ski area up there, Tuesday they had winds up to 112 miles.
Oh,
Gosh.
wow.
So I know I had a lot at my house, and I think talking to a few people live down there. Here they had a lot of wind, so I'm glad it stopped. Yeah. Yeah, that's what's going on, Mike.
Thank you for the comments, even when.
Yeah, they're skiing.
Any other board comments or discussion?
Just glad that our region is so on top of it, and I'm
Yeah.
sure that BFCOG and Attack is helping to make sure that we're on top of this so that we can meet and exceed our obligation and authority. Just fantastic.
Eric, Tanner, anything else?
Tanner's got one more.
Okay,
Yeah, on to another funding opportunity or funding alike. So in November, I attended a webinar about the WashDOT statewide freight plan. And a part of that is, National Highway, Freight Program is distributing funds for freight related projects from federal fiscal year, 2027 to 2032. And that will consist of $11 million annually. 50% of that will go to the state, and then the other 50%, roughly 5.5 million, will go to local jurisdictions. WashDOT encouraged that MPOs throughout the state develop a regional freight priority project list, and then also coordinate with jurisdictions on the project application submittals. So go to the next slide. I guess dating, we can stay on that slide, but that is due by February 27th of next year. So for the timeline for the project lists to be developed, jurisdictions are actually prioritizing their projects based on the scoring criteria, which is attached in the board packet. Their prioritized project lists are due by December 24th. And then BFCOG will present to attack the prioritized lists in January. And then on the 16th of January, we're gonna present to the board. And then, let's see here. And then in February, once the presentation is concluded, or yeah, once we finalize that list in January, February, we will bring it to the board and attack for adoption. And then as far, go to the next slide. And then for the project application submittal timeline, jurisdictions have the due date to February 6th to fill out their applications and submit it to BFCOG for review. And then between that time and by February 13th, we will work with jurisdictions and finalize those applications. And then WashDOT encouraged that BFCOG submits both the prioritized project list and all the applications as a region on the 27th, but we have the early goal of February 20th. I sent out the email providing a lot of information and all the attachments for the entire process early last week, so sent that to the TAC members. So if it's encouraged to work with them to make sure you get the right projects on your list and the applications filled out. Yeah, that's all I got. Any questions?
Any questions, Patty?
No rest for the wicked.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
You saw me wicked?
No.
Yeah, I'll add something real quick with it.
Go ahead.
So WashDOT is requesting this information. There's also the FMCIB, so Freight Mobility State Investment Board is also doing a freight call for projects right now. So as we are getting this information, we will also try to be proactive in making those applications as well and pass on that information to jurisdictions. So then we don't have to ask for twice the amount of information. We don't double dip, we get single dip. And then making sure that all of this goes into our freight plan, so then it will be a list within the freight plan that you can all reference as well.
Great, Aaron, thank you.
So if you could go back one slide. Morning, so December 24th, into business on the 24th. How long are you guys working on the 24th?
Till 4 p.m.
And then there will be a board meeting.
Yeah.
I missed that one.
I've got an executive order saying I'm not working the 24th.
There's always the 23rd.
No, I'm wondering, is that a self-imposed limit that might be better to move a little bit, just because I know that there's so much going on and so many folks out of the offices for all the different jurisdictions. Would it be something where it could be moved later in the year, not that there's much left, but also without putting too much strain and stress on BFCOG staff?
Yes, it could be pushed back, since there's a good amount of time. but it would put more strain on BFCOG staff to compile that prioritized list and present it to the TAC and board, mainly the TAC on the 8th of January, because we have to, we're receiving all those projects. Fortunately, we received West Richlands already, so.
Meeting if I didn't.
Also, a part of that too is a part of the regional freight plan, the BFCOG regional freight plan. Back in July, we requested a list of prioritized projects, but that wasn't based on the scoring criteria for this funding.
Right,
So it was more of a, here's the projects you submitted,
right.
review the scoring criteria, and then return or even add projects if new ones come about by that deadline. And that email was sent out. Wish I had the date. It was, I think, a week ago, or even early last week, actually. So,
Okay.
yeah, there's been ample time.
And say, what I hear you saying, Tanner, is that it just the identifying the projects on a prioritized list is well on its way already, and there's,
Yes.
it's just some final maneuvering to get us that. The heavy lift will come after when we maybe are working on actual applications and many of those deadlines. Roscoe's
I mean,
fine.
as long as West Richland's got ours. I just wanna make sure that we're, making it so that, cause I know that with the flooding going on, I'm sure that. I don't know how busy Prosser's been with the flooding, but I'm sure that, I know, Lynn and Benton City have been nonstop since that started, and I'm sure that Richland is at least somewhat because of the flooding over there, so. Just wanna make sure that we're in the spirit of the season and. While also not putting too much strain on BFCOG, but you guys also are having to do work.
Can you explain a little bit the criteria of the projects that you guys are looking for, from the jurisdictions?
It's anything freight related to improve safety. A good example for Richland is the Aaron Drive SR 240 overpass. Also lighting illumination and all weather upgrades for counties. Even up to rail projects. I know Port of Benton had the white gloves rail I don't know the full name, it's pretty long, but it was funded through this program last go around. So really anything that improves congestion, safety, and efficiency of freight.
So this is probably something that Richard
Yeah.
would probably be interested, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Other board comments or questions? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to Kristen.
Good morning. So as we move into 2026, it's the second year of the Grant Navigator program. And so I thought I would give you a kind of synopsis of what we've done so far. And then as the months come, I'll kind of talk about some of the grants that we're applying for. So over the last year plus, we have helped submit 11 grant applications. We have done 54 grant research, so that's based on projects that were brought to us and we looked into grants for those jurisdictions. We've done 37 letters of support on those grant applications. We sent out 107 NOFOs. These are targeted ones, not just blanket ones, but ones that are targeted to different staff and jurisdictions based on their priorities. And then attended and participated in 40 trainings and webinars based on those grants. And then over the next month and a half, we are working with 3 different grants in January and another one in February, a couple of them related to the floods. But so there are quite a few grants coming up that are opening up in February and March that you guys will be receiving. So there's a lot more coming up in the 2026.
Great. Questions, comments? Anybody?
Kristen's whole life is watching webinars about it.
Yeah, that. Thank you for your report.
So much easier on me than Tanner.
All right, Michelle.
Yes, okay, quick report for me. We are sad to have to tell you all, but want to wish our best congratulations to Alex Hall. Today's his last day at the COG because he has accepted a new position with Franklin County as their new long-range and natural resources planner. And so this is a position that's in line with Alex's long-range career plans. And while we're always sad to have people go, I'm always excited to see people continue to grow in their career. So we wish Alex the best as he moves on to his new role. So
Congratulations.
we are hosting for a communications and marketing coordinator role in January with intent to have that position filled by the end of the first quarter. That was part of our budget proposal for this year. We are still considering what we will do to fill the void that Alex is looking at. But so there'll be more to come with that. But we have a concept in mind that is coming out of our future 2075 discussions that has to do with the lack of enough available planners to all of our jurisdictions in the region. And so more to come as we finish fleshing this out. Strategic planning, last month we reported our all staff strategic planning, last week, no, Monday. Monday last year, we did our leadership team planning, to where we take the information from our all staff and, work on more specific, goals and timelines for the next year for, our activities. One thing that we, worked on as staff is in, the end of 2020, we had went through an exercise to set our core values as staff and how we work. A lot of water's been under the bridge in the last almost 5 years now since we did that originally. And the COG is a different kind of an entity with a whole different kind of culture with our staff. So we went through an exercise to begin setting new core values for our staff going forward. So we took the broad work there from the staff. We have synthesized it at the leadership team level. And as soon as we get everybody's buy-in for staff, we'll bring that back to you as well. But that's such an encouraging process for everybody to really discuss what it is about who we are as the COG and how we work and what do we want to aspire to continuing to move forward. So that was just one piece of what we worked on. Our theme for 2026 is going to be diamond level performance. And that's because 2026 is the COG's diamond anniversary, 60 years. And so we want to tie in our goals with that as our theme for the year. I had received your authorization to submit an RFP to do board strategic visioning, bring back some proposals for that. That is going to happen in January to release that RFP. It is our goal that we'd like to do that process in 26 so that when we finish our anniversary year, we have a clear unified vision from our board of what the heck we want the COG to be doing for our next 60 years, or maybe 6, but on that too. Outreach and engagement, just a couple of highlights. The AMPO Leadership Roundtable, they carry over one representative from the previous year to have continuity. So I was selected to be the representative that carries over. So I will be serving on AMPO's Executive Leadership Roundtable for another year for 2026. They plan at least quarterly roundtables discussions targeted to executive directors of MPOs on issues that affect how we lead. So that's exciting. I presented to the Regional Chamber of Commerce Ask the Experts Forum last week about leading with empathy, the new competitive advantage. I got to present with with Avante Jackson from the Grace Clinic and Dolores Broski from Harborstone Credit Union. So that was a nice opportunity to talk about something that I'm really passionate about, which is empathy and leadership and team culture. And then Aaron and I both attended Franklin County's public meeting about the US 395 Yeah.
Emergency safety, thank you.
The safety crisis, and that was a really, it was a really impactful meeting to listen into, and I know we both came out with some thoughts, and obviously the COG wants to be as supportive to whatever that right path forward is for that particular issue for the county.
Was that recorded? Or was that just open forum with no recording?
Believe it was recorded. It's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay. Our EDA partnership planning grant. Yay, okay, so it's time to reapply for our 3-year funding with EDA. The grant application deadline is January 31st, which was my first clue that something had changed because our grant funding ended at the end of this year. So EDA is realigning so that all of the grant recipients are on the same funding cycle. That's not our cycle. So we now have the equivalent of a 4-month gap in funding from EDA. So that leaves us from our budget short about $25,000 in funding for the beginning of the year. At the January board meeting, we will come back with a proposal to ask to use $25,000 of our PWEDA funding for economic development, which is a perfect fit for this, to fill that gap while we wait for the new funding and application to take effect April 1. Daisy Funk. I'm still getting used to the new last name. Daisy Funk, our senior planner, is taking over as our staff lead for our economic development district activities. As you all know, she stepped in to finish out our SEDS this year and make sure that we met our submission requirements, and actually really elevated the overall planning product that we put out this year. So I'm really happy to have Daisy taking on facilitation of those activities going forward for next year. All right, and that's it for me.
Any questions of Michelle?
Got a question. Yeah, I know. And just bringing it up from last time.
Yes,
Figured you probably were prepared for it.
working on it.
Okay, because I know last time you had said that we might get something by the end of the month. Are we looking at that, or are we looking more into the beginning of next year?
Realistically, with the holidays, it's going to be after the first of the year, but yes, it is in progress.
All right, thank you. And for those that aren't hearing the hints, it's about the Regional Building Appeals Board that we've been discussing, that I've been asking about. So, yeah.
Any other board comments or questions of Michelle? All right, is there any other new business that needs to come before the board at this meeting? Hearing none, then, are there any director updates? Any comments from any of our jurisdictions on anything you'd like to make us aware of or think about, or anything you'd like to say from anybody?
So I would just like to say that not just West Richland, but also Washtenaw and Richland and Benton City. I know that with the flooding, I can only imagine how stressful it has been for staff, but there seemed like there was immediate responses from staff from all of the jurisdictions. So just a big shout out to the road crews for everybody putting up those signs, making sure people are safe, to the police department and the sheriff for making sure that people, for the most part, weren't driving through water, because as I'm sure everybody knows by now, 6 inches of water, that'll sweep a person, phrasing, of course, sweep a person off their feet. And 12 inches will take a car off a road. So a big shout out to all the jurisdictions, the road crews, law enforcement, and just the staff in general, because I can only imagine how difficult it is, and I'm sure we're gonna get another round of that again. So, kudos.
Anybody else? The other thinking?
At the Port of Pasco, we celebrated Jean Reichman
Oh, yeah.
on Monday. She's retiring at the end of this year, and Matt Watkins will be taking her place as Commissioner for District Number 2 at the Port of Pasco. So Jean's looking forward to a wonderful retirement, and we're looking forward to working with Matt.
Who's the former mayor of Pasco?
Yes, Yes. And he's in charge of the water park. Yeah.
Speaking of retirements and mayors, also, Brent Gary for West Richland, he had 16 years total with well, 4 of them was as a council member and 12 of them was as mayor, so he just had his retirement party, and we're looking forward to letting him sail off in his RV and having some fun and adventures of his own, and welcoming in Fred, who was our mayor pro tem, Fred Grank, as our next mayor for West Richland. So, yeah, it's an exciting time to be a retiree, I'm sure.
Any other comments from anybody else? All right, I show it's 11:15, and I just want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas. And God bless America, and may God bless all of you too.
Happy New
We are
Year.
adjourned.
Yeah.
Happy holidays.
Yeah, happy holidays.